This is Batman's best move in Multiversus, and even if you don't agree, it's definitely his most underrated. I do not see a lot of Batman players online optimizing this. Of course, there's a lot of talk about Batman's uppercut, his batarang, his down air. And don't get me wrong, all those moves are great, but in my opinion, his best move is his glide. So whatever you have designated as your jump button, if you hold it while in the air with Batman, he will glide. So other than coasting and hovering around the stage, really, how can you use this? Well, since Batman is such a vertical player, I use this to bait out their resources. So I'll use something like my uppercut or my down air to launch them up in the air, and since I can kind of float and hover, I can wait to see what action they use to try to get out of the situation and adjust to it. Now remember, while in the air, you get 2 jumps and 2 dodges and 2 specials. Make sure you stay to the end because this is going to tie really well together later. So I like to knock my opponent up into the air, or even my partner may knock my opponent up into the air, and I will jump and hover to see, okay, are you going to jump a certain direction? Are you going to dodge a certain direction? And once they do, I can then move to that direction because Batman in particular can dodge in any direction. So if you jump diagonal and away, I can jump diagonal and towards you, and now you're back in a compromising position, which puts you in a lot of pressure to use another resource. So there's this interesting little Batman tech, and I don't know if anyone's brought it up in the community yet, but as long as you are holding L2 once you're in the air, you will glide. Keep in mind, I didn't necessarily say jump. So what you're seeing me do here is use one of my abilities that puts me in the air, and since I'm already holding my jump button, the moment he is finished with that ability, since he's in the air, he will glide. So I can use my uppercut to get my opponent in the air, and then while in the air, I still have all of my jumps, I still have all of my dodges, and then at least one of my specials. And so once you start throwing Batman's debuffs in the mix, the fact that he can jump in any direction, him being able to just kind of hover and watch what you do and respond is pretty dangerous. And the truth is, no matter how great a player is, no matter how composed a player is, every player has certain tendencies that they do in certain situations. Whether that means, oh, I've been hit up into the air, so I'm gonna jump, or I'm gonna dodge left, or I'm gonna use this certain ability. And once you start to gather that information throughout the match, now you can start punishing these players for their predictability. And when they start to make those adjustments, usually they're adjusting to something that they're less comfortable doing, which still, in a way, gives you another bit of advantage. And since the rest of the cast can only dodge up, down, left, and right, what you can do is you can go into practice mode to kind of start training that muscle, and you can set the AI to dodge. And then practice utilizing your tools to react to whatever decision that the AI makes. Here's an example of me using glide and uppercut to get into the air, and then still having access to both jumps, both dodges, and a second uppercut. And there's gonna be a lot of moments where you don't even have to use any of your other resources. You can just glide, wait for this person to make a decision, and then knock them out of the stage. And honestly, I didn't learn about the whole preheating the glide so that when I use something like an uppercut, I'm already using that ability once I get in the air. I didn't know that until a couple of nights ago, but just using glide in general to wait for someone to react and then waste their resources and then countering and punishing them for it has been something that has been one of my favorite things to do as a Batman player. I was actually just talking to my friend about it earlier this week, saying that this is just one of my favorite things to do. And you'll be able to see that there's a lot of opportunities and stuff that I'm just missing based on my timing because, you know, I haven't practiced this enough as I should in practice mode. And then there's a whole nother realm of practice that I'm gonna have to do when I'm running 2v2s with my partner. And honestly, there's just nothing more satisfying than making the right read, making the right punish, and then seeing that character spin around in circles because you forced them to use up all their resources and they're just at your mercy. It's an exciting and exhilarating thing as a fighting game player. And that's why I feel like glide is Batman's best ability. If you like the video, like it. If you think someone else might like it, share it. And if you want to see more, I really hope that you would subscribe.